and ladies, it is time for some new BigTuna content. Today we are talking about some changes that are coming for Enhancement Shaman in 10.1. Alright, 10.1 is obviously a big patch for PvPers. We got critical strike being reduced in PvP, we got CC being tampered with, we have our interrupt durations being a bit lower. Alright, it's a big patch, and of course we have two topics of discussion, which is our tier set and our new PvP talent that is coming for Enhancement Shaman. Not Burrow, we already talked about that. A new talent that is actually going to be very good, and you guys might like it. So first we'll talk about the tier set. All right, I didn't cover the tier set when it came out, like what, 2 weeks ago. I just didn't think of it. It's my fault, so I'll kind of just cover it now if you haven't seen it, which you probably should have. So our tier set is actually pretty interesting, and this is obviously designed for PvE purposes. So I don't know who's making the tier sets here and there, but you got a bit of issues here. But maybe this is just a PvE tier set in general. Maybe PvPers are going to get their own PvP tier set later down the line, but so far we have heard nothing. So this is what we're going to work off. So Cinder Wolf tier set looks amazing, it sounds amazing. All right, it's very hard to find Shaman sets, let alone male sets in general, that are actually good looking, but this one's actually pretty sick. So our 2 set is Sundering increases your mastery by 24% for 15 seconds. It's pretty cool. Mastery isn't a huge part of Enhancement Shaman. It's still beneficial, but nothing that's too crazy. All right, you get a bit of extra Stormbringer and Wind Fury procs. You get a bit of extra damage on your spells, which is kind of cool. So it is nice to at least have mastery just proc off of our 2 set. So it's nothing but beneficial, but it's kind of like an odd choice. I mean, obviously haste is our main stat. It's always been our main stat. So I don't know, a bit of an odd choice, but a bit of variety is what we like to call it. So our 4 set is our big part. 4 set, Sundering increases your physical and fire damage dealt by 30%, aka flame strike damage, for 15 seconds. And your next 3 chain lightning casts deal 100% increased damage and refund 50% of the Maelstrom weapon stacks consumed. Now again, if you didn't know, yes, it's PvE oriented, because why the hell would it say chain lightning? But let's kind of read what the good stuff here. So Sundering increases your physical and fire damage dealt, flame strike damage. All right, cool. Sundering is usually used for 2 things. It is used to either disrupt casts or to get an execute. All right, Sundering a target when they're in execute range, just so they can't cast anything for that 2-second in cap. It's pretty lethal. Now, that's really all Sundering is used for. It's a great ability, but it's not necessarily like a core ability, alright? Our tier sets in the past were always revolved around our core ability and our core utility. In Shadowlands, it was for our Fatal Spirits, which is, again, core no matter what build you're running. So, to see it kind of swap around to a different ability that is still used by both builds, or by any build, for a matter of fact, to see a tier set revolve around that it's a nice switch up, alright? In Season 1, they wanted to stray away from impactful tier sets because they wanted our new talent system to shine, and they did a good job with that for the most part, especially with the Enhancement Shaman tier set. It wasn't anything super crazy, but it still had a bit of benefit. So in 10.1, they're going to kind of stray away from that and make our tier sets more interactive, not necessarily impactful, needless to say, be game-breakingly broken. No, just a bit more impactful and a bit more interactive. That's what they want, is interaction. So that's what they're kind of going for with Sundering. And obviously there are a lot of Enhancement Shamans that actually don't like this tier set, which I honestly love it, just because again, it's interaction, it's fun, unique, it's a lot more funner, it seems more interesting than what we have currently. Now I would love this more if for PvP or just the tier set in general, that 3 chain lightning casts turned into 3 Maelstrom weapon casts. All right, so this would affect your elemental blast, your healing surges, your lightning bolts, whatever you spend your Maelstrom weapon on. I kind of wish that was the tier set instead of the 3 chain lightning casts. If we can have that, I think it'd be a lot better. Now obviously they would have to tune the numbers down to maybe 50% increased damage / effectiveness, because 100% is a big number. So to affect something like your elemental blast and your healing surge, 50% might be what they're going for. But that's what I would like to see changed. All right, the 2 set, it's not something I'm too bothered with. I mean, mastery is mastery. No, it's nothing but benefits. All right, maybe they can change something with that, but I really have no issue with that. But the 4 set is obviously the main goal, and that's what I would like to see changed just a bit for PvP. 3 Maelstrom weapon casts deal 50% increased damage / healing, refund 50% of the Maelstrom weapon stacks consumed. That's what I would like to see. Alright, so we can kind of test it here of what our burst is gonna pretty much look like. Get our weapon imbues up. Alright, get our weapon imbues up. All the good stuff here. Alright, Wind Fury Totem, Wolves. Alright, Doom Winds, Sundering. Alright, so Sunray is going to be a part of your burst now, which is actually kind of cool. Like I said, I only use it for you know, execute range or disruption casts, but now that's actually going to be a big part of your burst. You know, it's again, it's a bit of a nice switch up from its main purpose, and you know, I'm glad Sunray is getting a bit more love than it, you know, that it should be getting. So, you know, I rock with it. I rock with it. So now let's move on from that. Let's move on to the main topic of discussion today, and that is our new PvP talent. Blizzard is doing a good job as of recently to overhaul the PvP talents. They're basically getting rid of the weaker links and kind of strengthening kind of some underdog potential PvP talents. So they removed stuff like Ethereal Form, Spectral Recovery, Thunder Charge, and I believe Swelling Waves. And you know, they tampered with some stuff. They added some stuff for PvP talents. They said that they were going to do this in Shadowlands, but they didn't. So I mean, again, it's just another common Dragonflight W, as the kids like to say nowadays. So season of wins getting changed. We are getting, you know, it's going to be a stacking effect now, which is nice. We're obviously getting Burrow. I covered this. Burrow, it's going to be great if we can get that to a 1 minute cooldown, seeing as this is kind of like a budget ability from your Wraith Walk or your Nether Walk for, you know, the other two classes, DK and Demon Hunter. I think this would be a lot more better, seeing as you can still take damage from this ability. You can still be rooted in this ability, so I think 1 minute will kind of smooth that out very well. But we're getting another PvP talent, and hopefully you guys will like this, because a lot of PvPers, especially Enhancement Shamans, are never happy with what we get. Alright, for good reason. So we're getting Stormweaver. Obviously, badass name, but let's see what this does. Consuming Maelstrom Weapon on a damage spell causes your next healing surge or chain heal to gain 100% of the benefits of Maelstrom Weapon based on the stacks consumed. What does this mean? It basically means this: we no longer have to spend our Maelstrom Weapon on damage or healing. We can do both. One of the big problems with Enhancement Shaman is learning when to spend your Maelstrom Weapon on damage or healing. Other classes have the same issue, but they're not as grand as Enhancement Shaman, as their rotation is a lot more fluid, so they can build up that resource more quickly. Whereas Enhancement Shaman, not only is it our only way to live, it's also our only way to do actual good damage. So when you have to pick between healing or damage, it usually puts you in bad spots. Sometimes you'll go for a bit of damage with your Elemental Blast, and you randomly take just a random loads of damage, and you have no healing to heal with. Alright, it kind of sucks. So with this PvP talent, it makes it so we're no longer going to have to spend our Maelstrom Weapon on healing. So let's look at here. Let's build up to 10 Maelstrom stacks here. Alright, build up to the Maelstrom. Alright, I'm at 10 Maelstrom stacks. Alright, and this is going to be beneficial because, if you don't know, they are nerfing our Maelstrom Weapon by a good bit. So they're basically making it so our Maelstrom Weapon is separate percentages for both their damage and healing. So on live, it is basically, our Maelstrom Weapon is affected by 250% for your healing and damage, but as you see here, it is reduced. So our damage is increased by 215% and our healing increased by 160%, and this is affected through your improved Maelstrom Weapon and Raging Maelstrom. This is what they wanted to target for those separate percentages. So we're taking a bit of nerf, but you know, Blizzard nowadays is doing a pretty good job with compensating certain stuff. We're compensating certain talents, or compensating certain nerfs and buffs. So you know, I am very proud of that, and one of the effects through that is Stormweaver. All right, they're compensating that nerf to our healing with a bit of an indirect buff through our Stormweaver new PvP talent. So you see here, I have 10 Maelstrom stacks, and I want to go for some damage. Guess what? I can go for some damage, and I can go for some healing right after. All right. We no longer have to spend our Maelstrom Weapon on healing. We can just spend it on damage, right? We can heal through doing damage, much like a Fury Warrior, all right? It's going to make our rotation a lot more smoother. All we want to do is do damage, all right? I mean, you guys play Enhancement Shaman, you know, whenever you have to play defensively as an Enhancement Shaman, just constantly having to heal, constantly just never getting any damage out, you know, it's a rough time. Because in a world where every other melee or every other caster is out there ready to kill you, all right, and the only way to win these arenas is you need to have that exact counter pressure, which you're not getting because you're constantly playing defensive. You're constantly healing your healing surges or chain heals. You're constantly kiting. You're never getting those elemental blasts out. All right, it feels horrible as Enhancement Shaman. All right, Enhancement Shaman downsides are the most punishing comparatively to any other class in the game, and I don't know why, because Blizzard hates Enhancement Shamans. But with this PvP talent, it just makes it so we can constantly be on that offensive, because we can heal through being offensive. We can heal through being aggressive. All right, and it's going to be such a fun play style. All right, it's going to be amazing being able to you know, heal just doing damage. All right, See, I'm bursting here, boom, elemental blast. All right, I'm taking a bit of damage. I can heal with that, and I can just continue on with my burst. I don't have to build up to those Maelstrom stacks again. I can just do that for damage, and then I can just go for the healing I want to go for healing. Now, there is a bit of a bug. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's working as intended. So if I am to build up to 10 Maelstrom stacks, all right, get my Stormweaver stacks going up again. All right, come on, Stormweaver, Brock, or come on, Maelstrom Weapon, Brock, let's go. All right, I go for an Elemental Blast. I got my Stormweaver stacks. If I build up to another 10 Maelstrom stacks and I heal, watch this. My healing is pretty much, it's doubled. It's doubled because it's consuming my Stormweaver and my Maelstrom Weapon stacks for the healing benefit. Now, I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't think that's supposed to be in the game, but that's just how it currently works right now, and I'd assume it'd be hot fixed. But yeah, kind of like a little interesting interaction. But yeah, Stormweaver, it's gonna be amazing. It's probably gonna be one of those lock-in talents, which is unfortunate because I mean, you obviously need Static Field Totem, you need Red Dead Lightning, but it is good. All right, you usually only have like 3 talents as any class that are actually good and valuable, maybe potentially a 4th one. So to see us have competition with wanting to pick talents, you know, Stormweaver, Static Field, Burrow, Grounding, Ride the Lightning. All right, it's a bit of a nice, it's again more variety, more interaction, which is what Blizzard is going for, and I'm pretty sure they're nailing it to a to a good bit. So that's all I wanted to talk about. All right, what do you guys think of our tier set? Do you think our tier set's garbage? Do you hate it? Do you want our old tier set to stay in the game? Do you like Stormweaver? Do you hate it? Do you love it? I personally love our Stormweaver, and I love the tier set. All right, just for the purposes of fun, and of course Stormweaver for the purposes of viability. All right, and just fixing a really big issue with Enhancement Shaman. So obviously loving it, but hopefully you guys had an amazing day. All right, you got to like, comment, subscribe, because I'm BigTuna, I'm the World Shaman. You kind of have to, because it's literally an order. I'm not giving you a choice to not subscribe. But yeah, links in the description if you want to see more of BigTuna, and hopefully you also have a beautiful sunset, and I'll see you guys in the next life. Peace.